juicy breast, fork tender legs, and a rich gravy. Today, I want to show you how to get the most out of your turkey, and we start by breaking it down. So, why break down the turkey? Well, because different parts of the turkey requires different cooking temperature. You want to keep the breast meat under 67 degrees Celsius for it to have a chance to be moist and juicy. But you want to bring the legs above 73 degrees Celsius for a prolonged period of time for the connective tissue and collagen to have a chance to break down into gelatine. And to achieve that with a whole turkey makes it extremely troublesome. At the bare minimum, you would have to buy a pizza stone. So today we divide and conquer. To help our presentation piece, the crown, look good, we want to maintain as much skin as possible so that after roasting and shrinking, it'll still look beautiful. Now to do that, you identify this line of fat between the leg and the breast, and we make our incision on the leg side, giving this whole line to the crown. Do the same on the other side. Now to make life easier, before I start pulling them, I'm going to flip the turkey over and make one incision down the spine. Now, we simply pull the leg out. Let the anatomy do the work for you. You don't even need to use a knife until we've reached the oyster. Cut to release the oyster. Once you have the oyster and you've dislocated the drum, the pulling continues. And you only make small incisions whenever something is stuck. And that's why we make the cut in the middle. The whole leg pulled out, barely using the knife. And we do the same on the other side. Of course, you can ask your butcher to help you do this. Just make sure they cut on the correct side to preserve the skin on the crown though. Okay, we release the oyster. And once again, we pull the whole thing out. Now, to extract this beautiful crown, we simply find this line that goes from the tip to the wing drum. Holding the wing drum, you grab a pair of scissors, strong scissors, and you start cutting along the line. And we go all the way to the neck. And we do the same on the other side. And now we have the carcass, the legs, and the beautiful crown. Just to separate the thighs from the drum, you wiggle your thumb, you find the joint, and you cut through. Now, the key to juicy meat and caramelized skin, we salt the turkey very generously, if you want to be precise, 0.6% of the turkey's weight, all over. And we leave them in the fridge uncovered for up to 3 days, but minimum overnight. The salt would not only season the turkey thoroughly, but given time, break down the protein fibers so that when the turkey cooks, it retains a lot more moisture. On top of that, the salt and the fridge would start to dry out the surface moisture from the turkey, and it removes up to 10% of moisture. This would give you a much better chance of good browning, good Maillard reaction, everything you want to make the turkey taste meaty. And this is why I do not suggest buying wet brine turkeys. While the salt will do the same magic, the turkey ends up absorbing more than 10% of plain water. So in essence, to get the illusion of juiciness, you're diluting a lot of flavors. So on to wire racks they go and into the fridge. Now, we make a roasted turkey stock with the carcass, which will form the base of our gravy, the braising liquid for the legs, and of course it can go into your stuffings. So, whatever aromatic vegetables you like, we're simply going to reinforce the stuffing flavors using some celery, and you keep them chunky. A bit of onion, salt, pepper, a bit of refined olive oil or any neutral high smoke point oil. I'm deliberately not using herbs because we're cooking this 3 days before. The freshness and the fragrance of the herb will be tamed while this cools in the fridge. So we'll add all that on the day of serving. Neck goes in, wings. I like to add the giblets just to make it gamier, but that's completely optional. The carcass. And this goes into a preheated oven at 200 degrees until everything is golden brown, about 40 minutes. After 40 minutes of beautiful flavor development, we now perform the flavor extraction. Simply everything into a pot. Add some water to the roasting tray, just to mop up all the flavors. Now, we simply add enough water to cover everything. And we simmer this for 3 hours, or if you want to use a pressure cooker, 1 hour. And tomorrow, we braise some turkey. Now, the legs. After 2 days in the fridge, the salt and the fridge have done their magic. Now you have a very dry surface, ready for some caramelization. So, hot pan, any high smoke point neutral oil, in this case, vegetable oil, and be generous with the oil because we're gonna skim off the fat before the actual braising. Once the oil is shimmering, turkey goes in, skin side down. If it's sticking in the beginning, it's absolutely fine. Once the fat has been rendered, they'll release themselves. And try not to crowd the pan so that everything gets a proper sear. That's how you build flavors. If your pan's too small, do them in batches. What we want to achieve here is to cause the Maillard reaction and caramelization. These two things are what's going to make the meat taste meaty and complex. And take your time. Large joints like that could easily take 8 to 10 minutes. This is the first stage of braising any meat. We're building flavors before the introduction of liquid. Now we cook the other side. Beautiful browning. Slightly burned, but that's okay. We're going to deglass the pan later to mop up all those beautiful flavors. Now, once everything has taken on this wonderful color, suntanned, slightly sunburned, the legs come out to rest briefly. We first skim off some beautifully rendered out turkey fat. Save this, we're gonna use it for the crown. So leave a thin layer, just enough to cover the pan. And to mop up all these burn bits, all these beautiful flavors, we're going to add some aromatic vegetables. As usual, the recipe is a guideline, so you can use whatever you like. Today, we're just going to reinforce the stuffing flavors we introduced yesterday to the broth. So some celery, which brings this fresh, herbal, and slightly peppery flavor that balances the gaminess of the turkey extremely well. Straight in. We're keeping them chunky, just we could sieve them out later. Onion, ton of complex sweetness. We season with a tiny bit of salt, bearing in mind the turkey has been salted in the fridge. But the salt would help us draw out moisture from the aromatic vegetables and in turn, deglass the pan, mopping up all these burn bits, all these flavors. Once the vegetables are translucent and they've taken on some of the color left behind by the turkey, one optional step, we add some white wine to deglass the pan, and this would bring some acidity and brightness, once again balancing the gaminess of the turkey. While the wine is being cooked, we welcome back our turkey broth. And once again, as you can see, there's a layer of roasted turkey fat that has floated to the top. Once again, we skim off the fat. We add this to our fat collection. So before the breast meat touched the oven, we already have a ton of different flavors waiting for it. Perfect. Now, once you can no longer smell the alcohol, and you don't want to cook it for too long because you want to keep the acidity, we add the turkey pieces back in. And we start adding our flavors and broth. Once again, we add some herbs used in the stuffing. So, a bit of thyme, bit of sage, bit of parsley. Because this is a braising dish, I personally recommend that you cook it the day before, so that on the day, all you have to worry about is the beautiful turkey crown and some sides. So lid on, simmer at least 3 hours, so the connective tissues and collagen would have time to break down into gelatine. If you want a more robust stew, lid off, 150 oven, middle shelf, and topping up periodically with more broth. After about 3 hours, this is what we have. Look at that. And it smells incredible. Now, you check on the doneness by inserting a fork and you just start to twist slightly. At this point, the flesh should offer no resistance and you know this thing is fork tender and shreddable. So now, put it to the side and take out the meat. I personally like to shred them before serving. That's exactly what we're gonna do. Look at how easy this is. No resistance. All the collagen, all the connective tissues broken down, giving us this moist, gelatinous flesh, full of turkey flavors. One clean bone. Another benefit of shredding is that I get to remove these tough sinews from the drum, which even with long cooking period could remain chewy. Now, top this up with a wonderful braising liquid. Garnish with a few sage leaves. And that's your fork tender braised legs. Now, I did promise a rich gravy, traditionally made from turkey drippings, but we have something better. We have what's in effect a double boiled roasted turkey broth with all the gelatin in the world, exactly what you want. For gravy, no need for a roux or any other thickener. All we need to do is we add all the remaining liquid to our saucepan and we reduce it to the consistency you desire. Of course, if you really want to go old school, you can always thicken it with a bit of a roux. We leave it to reduce until the desired consistency. On actual turkey day, all you have to do is to roast this beautiful crown that has already been seasoned, its skin already dried, ready for the oven. How to not mess it up? First and foremost, temperature control. It's almost a game of mathematics. All you want to achieve is to bring the thickest part of the crown to 60 degrees Celsius, and with resting, it'll go above to 63 to 65, perfect for juicy breast. Secondly, the orientation of the crown. The thinnest part has to be touching the bottom of the tray because most ovens heat from top down and heat travels upwards. So we want to minimize the probability of this overcooking before this reaches the desired temperature. Number 3, low temperature start, high temperature finish. On the festive occasion, you don't want to be running to your kitchen checking doneness every time. We're roasting this at 120 degrees Celsius. And the general rule of thumb is for every kilo of turkey, it takes about 30 minutes. Which brings me to point number 4, and probably equally important as any, precision. If you're committed to cooking this at least once, if not twice a year, you have to buy a meat probe. If you have a probe that goes into the oven, even better. 2/3 into the ballpark cooking time, you start probing, and the moment it hits 60, turkey comes out. That's juiciness sorted. Now, the flavor. With low temperature, even with a high blast, how do we give it more flavor? Well, we have some pre-roasted turkey fat, both from the broth and from the casserole. So, couldn't be more simple. Brush a layer on top. This will also help the turkey cook evenly. And during cooking, I would continuously brush more oil on the turkey instead of basting. There's a misconception that basting with liquid would make something juicier. It's quite the contrary. Like I said many times on this channel, if I were to pour hot water on you, would you be more hydrated? No, you'd be burnt. Basting with liquid at best distributes flavors to the surface. At worst, overcooks the meat. Basting with oil, on the other hand, not only distributes flavors, but also helps with browning, especially even browning. So every half an hour, I suggest you take the turkey out and give it another thin layer of this wonderful, wonderful pre-roasted fat. Perfect. Now, turkey goes in the oven, and I'll see you when the meat probe sets over. After about 2.5 hours, the beautiful crown is perfectly cooked. It has taken on a tiny bit of color from the roasted turkey oil. We now let this beauty rest for at least 20 minutes to even out the cooking, to reach the desired temperature and let the protein fibers relax. I just want to show you how little roasting liquid came out, mostly the oil that we brush, because most of the liquid is still inside. Now it's a good time to prepare all the sides, heat up the braised legs, and your gravy, and once everything's ready, we'll come back and brown the skin. After about 20 minutes, this beauty is ready. No honey, no sugar. The caramelization came from the turkey itself. We'll give it 5-10 minutes to cool down, and the centerpiece is ready. And this is my roasted turkey crown with braised legs.